My name is Sophie and I'm the Editor-in-Chief at the Fordham Observer. Since I've been Editor-in-Chief back in May, the Observer has been functioning fully remotely due to the coronavirus pandemic, which means that we're not able to physically distribute any papers. We won't be able to for this semester. We've been really emphasizing our online presence as well as creating virtual issues that people can still look through with all of our front page and pictures and everything produced the way that a physical newspaper would be.
Hi, my name is MARIELLE Sarmiento and I am the Managing Editor at the Fordham Observer. I wanted to always become the Managing Editor because I loved the community building aspect that editor role has rather than just editorial or content producing. And I think it's kind of kismet because in this virtual environment, fostering community between our staff and our contributors, since we're all spread around the country, is more important than ever.
Hi, my name is DRESSNER and I'm the photo editor at the Observer. During the pandemic and while working online, we definitely had to change because we weren't really able to go out and take photos anymore, meet with people to take photos like we usually do. So instead we would reach out to people to send us photos that they had, or sometimes we had to get creative in staging photos in our own homes.
I'm LARA. I'm a layout editor at the Observer. Despite layout being a section that works mainly in regard to the physical copies of the paper, our role as layout editors didn't really change much during the pandemic since we were still able to host production nights on Tuesdays via Zoom, and we still produced a digital version of the paper the same way that we would have had we been in person.
My name is MADDIE SANDHOLM and I'm one of the layout editors at the Observer. The main way my role changed was becoming the only one to have access to my section's layout doc. In the office, we make them on the shared computers and the section editors can add in their stories and photos, but working remotely, we don't have an easy way to share this doc.
Hi, I'm Esme and I'm an assistant photo editor for the Observer. So I think because we're able to go through each section on screen share on Zoom, that's super helpful for me because as photo editors we can see every photo, on the page. We can read over the captions, we can make sure everything looks okay, and sometimes we'll have, we'll see, once we see it, how it's gonna look on the page, we can see that, it needs some, needs to be brighter or some sort of adjustments, and the rest of the staff can also be looking and point those things out to us, which is super helpful. A huge thing is that all of the events that are happening are on Zoom. And so we get a lot of Zoom screenshots and it gets a little bit repetitive, and so we've tried to kind of mix it up as much as we can and basically work with what we've got and what we're able to get from other people.
Some of the challenges of producing remotely is that since we cannot have all of our editors together in an office, we've had to put that process on Zoom, which means that the news team can't just step outside and all talk together while the layout editors are discussing things, and the photo editors, we can't all work individually in one space. We have to move through each section quite slowly. And so obviously that comes with its challenges, and we've changed the process that we have our layout editors produce some of the work that the writing editors have written, and then they share their screen on Zoom and we all go through together. For people who are very hands-on and like to have a physical piece of paper in front of them with their pen to go through and correct for grammar or spelling, that process is now eyes glued to a screen and saying, can you zoom in on that? Which has really had its challenges, but I think that we've been able to adapt really incredibly. And I guess the positive of that side is that because we're forced into this digital space, our team has been fantastic at expanding our digital coverage, experimenting with social media, engaging in a website redesign, really thinking about how can we make this content as engaging as possible now that you can't pick up a paper and everything that you're learning about the Fordham community through the Observer is on a screen.
The act of laying out the paper is so much better and more collaborative when we're all in a room and we can all hand off galleys, or I can look over an editor's shoulder, or I can call another layout editor to come look at something. So just not having that collaborative, everyone can work on multiple things at once and everyone's a desk away, that's been pretty hard to adjust to.
Having a production call with a whole team allows us to look at each other's work more closely. While copy and managing are doing their final lookovers for content and overall visuals, the layout editors can look at the small design elements and see things that we might have otherwise missed. The production call is pretty long, and I do miss the interactions I've had with my co-editors in the office. And it's a little bit more difficult to get other eyes on our work outside of the production call because we can't look over to another editor sitting right next to us and ask them to look at the work on our computer.
It's been really interesting, but I think, at least for me, like having the Observer production every few weeks has been kind of a grounding thing and just helps me like stay on track, remember what day it is. Like that sounds silly, but it's been really helpful to have that like structured over the summer.
I am in awe of this staff and this e-board. Everyone's work this summer, in this crazy summer with a global pandemic, with the civil rights movement, with everyone's own private personal lives a mess and so stressful, no one's work slipped up. They worked even harder. They continue to produce authentic, genuine, good, cold, hard journalism, and I love them.
I think it's really remarkable and inspiring how everyone has stepped up to the plate during these times and contributed their talents in ways that really, I think, pushed us further as a newspaper, and I really feel happy with the community that we've built. And honestly, it feels bigger than just a college newspaper. Like, I have a family here, and it makes me so happy that we're growing together through these crazy times, and that I know we'll come out of this stronger than ever.